Hello everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I must say this amphitheater is very close to my heart. Thank you, Ricard. Thank you, Silvia. Thank you, entire ETSI community that has been contributing to the success of standardization over so many years. I know that for all these different conferences that everybody here attends as experts, there is always that feeling of the most two difficult sessions in a conference program, the one before the lunch and the one after the lunch. The first one because everyone needs to hurry up, being hungry, and the one after lunch because everyone is just a bit in a slow motion, and we are trying to make this as entertaining as possible for you. As I said, I have been involved in this framework of standardization for so many years, too many maybe, and always with the objective of supporting service providers. It is an interesting feeling because while we know it's such a global community of so different players, the service providers have been leading the wave. They have been getting to the point of managing smart home and the evolution of the smart home. But what has been happening, as we have all been witnessing and discussing here as well today, the context of telecommunications framework has drastically changed over the last decade. Has started a long time ago, but got such an acceleration of challenges. And while operators have seen these challenges, as the word says, a difficulty, they actually see opportunities as well. While they need to manage all these different multi-room, multi-screen, multi-applications, gateways, and then all the different residential equipment at the same time, those that everyone is buying in the retail market, it's becoming such an increasing challenge to have them installed and maintained and synchronized in an organized way. When it comes to the content distribution and the way we prioritize client and the traffic within the home, what we have been seeing also increasingly, it's beyond the self-organized networks, also a way to distinguish between the backhaul and front haul links. Why I'm saying that? Because in many cases, we need to actually safeguard the Wi-Fi, our dear Wi-Fi channel for what is important. And then at the same time, the robustness that is providing the framework for such a high quality of service, it's in many cases, the backhaul, in many cases, is the wired connectivity. So we have been also witnessing, and when I say we, it's the industry, not getting yet to the point of what prpl Foundation does. We have been witnessing this as an industry, as a challenge to combine all the different backhaul and front haul links to leverage the wired infrastructure so that we can optimize Wi-Fi channels. And last but not least, to scale Wi-Fi mesh coverage. When? Precisely and most difficult in the dense MDUs, because while our MDUs towers are getting higher and higher, we see all the rooms with such a bigger number of devices connected inside every single apartment. It's becoming such a crowd spectrum. This is why you see operators moving also from the frequency spectrum to the light spectrum, looking for alternatives. So managing all that in a combination of the mixed distribution and prioritization, it's an increased challenge. In a conclusion, observation for the prpl Foundation members, we see service providers facing innovation bottleneck. Why innovation? It's clear. Why bottleneck? Because they spent, because of all the issues that we have talked about, they spend significant time and money on what? On CPE middleware integration. And then what's happening in return? They don't have enough money and time and resources to spend on innovation, which is what it comes first and what we need at most. So at the same time, we have a lack of open source career-grade software and APIs. I think many of the distinguished speakers today have highlighted that, and it's nothing new to you. At the same time, the middleware fragmentation increases time to market, above all reduces vendor choices, and create costly deployments. When we talk about costs here and cost optimization, rapidly linking that to, you also heard that so many times, and then I like to say the most boring words of the telecommunications industry are standardization and interoperability. But then we cannot live without that, and they are the pillars of the deployments. They are the pillars of the deployments. So vendor choices come based on certification, they come on the interoperability. Service providers like to actually select some system vendors at the beginning. They're trusted partners, which makes a lot of sense, but then they will need to add more vendors on the silicon side, on the platform side. They need to add more vendors, and those vendors need to be interoperable. Then subscribers, all of us, will buy more devices in the retail market. These new platforms also need to be interoperable, otherwise we buy them, we take them home, we install them, we are not working with what we have already from the service providers, we call them, we complain, and then we get all the technical costs, somebody having to come in and help us at home. So that's really costly deployment. This takes us to what prpl Foundation does. We have a mission that we identified many years ago, and we have been modifying our interest and our support and our collaboration model in order to build the open source career grade, important, software for service provider CPE devices. We have an ambition to decrease this operator time to market and cost while increasing the vendor options, while accelerating innovations that we mentioned, so that can be a safe bet for all the service providers to deploy a technology, to combine all these devices, and they can still work with each other and provide the highest quality of service. We know operators are leading the innovation way with prpl, and I'm grateful once again to Etsy for bringing together for so many years the operators on the stage, on the backstage, on the front stage. They understand the importance of software and quality, and you yourself will recognize your values in this. Operating at lower cost and reducing the carbon impact, enabling the open source framework, innovating much faster. They create value for subscribers, more and more value for subscribers. They capture new revenue streams because they need to monetize. They are providing many services, but then they need to be able to monetize all these different services. They move from basic equipment to real platforms for smart homes. There is a major difference indeed between what we have as an equipment and what we have in a platform. They unleash platforming effect through innovation and standardization. This is why we want to cooperate with all the standardization bodies while we are a service provider, while we are a vendor, while we are a silicon vendor. It's always valid as a strategy. When it comes to prpl Foundation enabling an app store, service providers are enabling app stores with new critical value-added services that can be monetized. You can learn about unprivileged containers and security with prpl Foundation and the role of that. We have the prplware architecture that one image speaks a great deal here, and we are inviting you also to visit the poster that is presented by our architect, Wouter, our prpl principal architect. He has a lot of experience with the service providers and can provide you all the details. But when I look really high level, open source software components, I want to mention very quickly the elements of that. The prpl OS, which is Linux operating system based on OpenWRT. Important, it comes with carrier grade enhancements. prpl Mesh, full implementation of what we know as Wi-Fi Alliance Easy Mesh protocol, including a self-organizing controller. prpl LCM, which is our component for the life cycle management, containing, based on Linux RxC, the prpl Security, which it comes with carrier grade security features. We can explore more the security features here. prpl high-level API based on the Broadband Forum USB TR369 for device management. prpl Apps, SDK and App Store for third-party smart home apps. And prplware, which is our complete software build using prpl software products. These are the components being provided at the fingertips by prpl Foundation. And when I say all of that, last but not least, and it's a question that has been asked by many of you today, and it's a continued open question for everybody. The interoperability is being supported by certification. We also have the prpl cert component, which is a self-certification tool to ensure a genuine purpleware product that complies with all that. How we do this? We use industry standards effort, building on existing ISO standards. We collaborate with other open source communities that we have identified as essentials: the Broadband Forum, the OpenWRT, the Linux Foundation, the Wi-Fi Alliance, the QA Cafe, which does the certification, and of course the list can be enlarged. What is important here is to minimize disruptions to existing but also ongoing developments, and to accelerate market adoption and easier migration path, which is always the challenge of the service providers. Without that, they cannot really monetize. The membership community. When we talk about the membership community, you will be curious to find out more what is actually Purple Foundation, what's behind the Purple Foundation name. We have been building an ecosystem of service providers, OEMs, software integrators, semiconductor vendors, we're talking about the silicon solutions, and application developers. You can see here an interesting mix of the percentages of all the stakeholders. And interesting enough, because of all these challenges that got more and more, and we had the service providers having to look into solving these challenges, we experienced a 30% growth this year in our membership base. Currently 81 member companies, and we have been adding at the pace of 2 members per month. You will recognize some of the names here, so I will display this a couple of more seconds so that you can all look for the names that you can recognize. It's an interesting mix again. There is a lot of the Etsy membership involvement here as well. That's why I am extremely grateful to to participate in the conference today and share this, because when we're going to talk about what is next, the next is collaboration. The next is, while we have everything on the same table, we need to join forces and cross-border of all these different challenges so that all the stakeholders can collaborate and deploy. We have been displaying a number of demos supporting operators' deployments very recently. So just for the sake of having a quick look, we had things from the 10 gig Wi-Fi 7 tri-band CPU solutions to automated tools to remote diagnostic suite, things that are not new in terms of the value, but are new in terms of being supported on Purple. The running IoT security agent, Wi-Fi sensing, different types of flavors applications ranging from smart homes, but not only, to the smart buildings, but not only, all the way to interesting things that can be considered elder care monitoring and should be part of our vision for the future, and so on and so forth. The list is very long: app orchestrators, managing applications, performance metrics, automated testing. All these, I wanted to include them as a reference, and also the Purpleware on Wi-Fi 7 devices, which is something highly needed on the roadmap of the service providers when it comes to 5G fixed wireless access, when it comes to XGS-PON, Ethernet routers that need to be deployed and accelerated, the Purple LCM, and so on and so forth. The key behind all of this is the service delivery platforms. Operators have a milestone gear. Again, keywords that really speak high for them: ecosystem, certification, innovation, how they can customize. They are requesting customizations to all their vendor partners, which is a high cost. Every single system vendor that needs to secure a contract with an RFP, an operator, they need to make these requirements, adaptation on the access, interoperability, performance, and security, and that's a huge cost. In the Purple Foundation, we have been observing that operators are committed, driven by these 3 pillars: cost effectiveness, platform effect, innovation via third parties. And then again, a list of use cases, value-added services that for the sake of not going into so much detail, I'll save for a later discussion if the panel will allow. But again, things that are on everybody's list, like multi-link operation, cybersecurity, CPU-based, enhanced customer experience. These are all very easy to understand. The self-healing mesh, Wi-Fi and remote optimization, and then leveraging hardware internet speeds. The key here that I want to really accelerate and end is that operators focus on these deployments. They made announcements at the recent, the 5 operators here, Orange, AT&T, Verizon, Frontier, and Vodafone, have joined forces for amazing demos and keynote speeches and testimonies based on prpl just a few weeks ago in Paris at the Network X. And really invite you, included here for the sake of when you have time to listen to these speeches, because they really reveal many of their deployment keys and how they solve that. We have fast-track reference platforms that are important for the community based on MaxLinear and Qualcomm boards. And then the QA Cafe does the self-certification. You'll discover more of that on our website. But to break this bottleneck, we do everything based on certification, configuration, and build prplware from prpl software components. I will not go in detail, and we deploy that innovations to all our membership, supporting more reference platforms and growing the third-party app store. With that, I ended just on time.
Thanks a lot.